What we need to do is try to get a hold of the grant, find out who signed it, who put their name on it, who did the grant writing, find out where this leads. Because I think something's going on here.
That's the Joliet Councilman Joe Clement earlier this week during a city council meeting in Joliet where they said, hey, we didn't ask for this $8.6 million grant that apparently the city of Joliet is in line to get to help with migrants. Welcome back. Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk. And some of the other headlines on this. Mayor Brandon Johnson from the city of Chicago set to visit the U.S. border as the migrant crisis worsens. You've got the mayor saying this is serious. Recently met with Mexican officials. 14 buses arriving to the city on Wednesday. As many as 8 more are on the way. This obviously is a growing issue that even Governor J.B. Pritzker has said is getting a little out of hand in letters that he's recently sent to the White House. But let's take a look briefly before we hear some of the city council in Joliet push back against this idea of having migrants go to the city of Joliet. If you recall, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson back in August floated the idea of sending migrants to the suburbs. And this is clearly something that you've got people having some concern with. So here's Johnson a few weeks ago talking about this issue.
We've had conversations with mayors across not just Cook County, but the surrounding counties. We have had tremendous feedback, and we see some real support on the horizon.
So obviously, who is providing that support? Who's explaining that support? Then you had last week, late on Friday, the announcement came out of the governor's office that $41.5 million was going to be going to 6 Chicago area governments taking in migrants. So the Pritzker administration announced that Joliet was going to get $8.6 million, Elgin getting $1.3 million, Lake County with $1 million, the city of Urbana $250,000, and Oak Park $150,000, while Chicago would get $30 million for the grants. And that seems to cover the base camp tents, the military grade base camp tents that Mayor Brandon Johnson is wanting to set up and has actually contracted to set up. So clearly, this announcement's late Friday that $41.5 million, $8.6 million of that, of your state tax dollars, going to Joliet, that caught some of the Joliet officials off guard. And I think it's important to note here, there's a difference between city government and township government. We've got this issue here in Springfield. We've got the city government, City of Springfield, the corporation of City of Springfield, and they deal with, public works and CWLP, the city water, light, and power, and, all the other things that a city typically does. Townships in Illinois, which are scattered all across the state, they typically do encompass much of the city government, but the township is more of like a organization that is there as providing financial assistance for individuals or food assistance for individuals. There's a variety of different things that townships do while they take in tax dollars. So you got 2 layers of government on local government, not just the county being a third layer. You've got the city, and then a lot of times you've got townships as well. Township government has been something some people have wanted to consolidate into city government for quite some time. But regardless, just wanted to highlight the difference between a city council and a township board. And they seem to have that issue in Joliet where the township made a decision to accept grants that will directly impact city government. And here is Joliet Mayor Terry D'Arcy earlier this week during their city council meeting, just reading off a statement as to what exactly is going on here.
The decision makers in the city did not have knowledge of the grant request made by the township with community partners and organizations. The City of Joliet Mayor's Office and Joliet Fire Department did not sign or approve any memorandum of understanding with the township or with other community partners and other organizations on the grant that was submitted. If the township accepts this grant and individuals arrive in our city, it will be a tremendous strain and overtaxing our existing infrastructure impacting our Joliet school system, social services, public and private health resources, and public safety. I want to ensure the residents understand the City of Joliet Mayor's Office and Joliet Fire Department did not approve, agree, or sign off to this grant application. I've been in discussions with State Representative Larry Walsh Jr., Natalie Manley, State Rep. Meg Laughlin-Capel, County Executive Jennifer Patino about this grant. None of them were aware of this application until the release went out late Friday afternoon. I've asked Joliet Supervisor Angel Contreras to withdraw the grant application.
That's that. So he was asked about where's Contreras at? Why isn't he why isn't he at the city council answering questions? And the patch has requested comment from Contreras, the township supervisor, and even went to the offices, couldn't find him. Also left voicemails, they report, informing him that the patch wants to learn more about his successful grant application to the governor and find out what Contreras plans to do with that money. So clearly, the reporting continues on this out of the patch, while on Monday, the city council was like, we had no idea about this $8.6 million. We're not talking about, quarter million. We're not talking about 100,000. We're talking about $8.6 million. And the city's asking for the township in Joliet to withdraw that. Because you got to imagine, the township might be able to facilitate the funds, but it's going to spill over to having to take other city resources. So you've got now here the councilman at large, Joe Clement, spelling out his concerns with this whole situation.
So I texted the mayor. He graciously texted me back and later responded that this was the township's doing. I can't believe for the life of me that the township supervisor was called or contacted by the governor or anybody else and nobody knows about this. I cannot believe that. I think people know, and they're just, and I'm not saying the mayor knows. I'm just saying I think people know, and they realize this is this big blowback, and they're taking cover. That's what I think is going on. I don't know. What we need to do is try to get a hold of the grant, find out who signed it, who put their name on it, who did the grant writing, find out where this leads. Because I think something's going on here. And then I just want to make a couple more quick comments and this is not to put anybody on the spot. Mr. Migrant, Councilman, you just made a comment. This is just off the paper. I wasn't going to make a comment on this at all, but it was there. You said, Migrant said, among city concerns is that there seems to be no formal plan for how the money would be used. He said the city in the past week or so received a call from Chicago officials asking whether Joliet could accommodate any asylum seekers. We responded that we were not in the position to do so, Migrant said. I just have to ask, who called, who answered the phone, who's we? And there's 9 of us up here. We each have 1 vote and we're 1 of 9. This is probably the most most important issue that I've been here 31, 32 years. This could be the most important issue Joliet has ever faced. We should have had an emergency meeting. We should have sat and at least talked about it in closed session, something. I'm not throwing anybody on the bus. I just think moving forward, these are important issues. We should be responding to and not let this thing fester. Darcy met with Contreras on Monday morning to discuss the matter. What was discussed? Where are these people coming from? How many are coming? Where are we going to put them? I mean, there's just so many questions, and maybe he's going to address this tomorrow. And he's been silent, and that's fine. I mean, I want some answers. All these questions are not just for me; they're from the hundreds of people that have contacted me with these questions.
But again, Angel Contreras, at least according to the patch, and I looked a little this morning, couldn't find anything, the township supervisor for Joliet has yet to talk about this $8.6 million grant, as the city of Joliet officials are asking the township to withdraw that grant request. So fascinating to see this dynamic play out and how exactly this is going to, lead to either this $8.6 million not going out to Joliet, or if it's going to be used to just push into Chicago, or if there's another city in the suburbs that are going to raise their hand, as the governor asked, for them to volunteer to take on migrants. So clearly this is continuing, especially with the reports that, again, just on Wednesday, 14 buses of migrants arrived, with as many as 8 more on the way. And Mayor Brandon Johnson set to visit the southern U.S. border. And we shared with you yesterday the conversation I had with State Representative Mike Coffey from here in central Illinois, Springfield. He recently traveled to the border. So if you missed that conversation, be sure to check it out on my socials. Just search Bishop on Air, and you can connect that.